let's get started. Feel free to pop in any keyword that you want to start looking at. But in this advanced webinar, we'll look at how you can use methods and how you can use concepts. So we'll just cover basically the writing parts of it. And in the end of it, we'll also cover how to really create powerful SEO outlines if we have some time. But we'll start covering with the concepts and methods, and then we'll look at a little bit of outlines as well. Okay, let's get started. So telepromoting. All right, we can look at that. Just give it a second. All right, let's open it up. And I'm going to copy that keyword. Participants. All right. Okay, so telepromoting. Operator and rental. So let's see, operator. I can look at an operator. That'll be a little more specific. Okay. Those of you who are still joining in, we are going to look at telepromoter operator. Telepromoter operator. I have no idea what that is, so I guess we'll just figure it out. Let's go ahead and get started with that. So let's just give it a couple of seconds while it's doing its research. Okay. Feel free to pop in a couple of other keywords as well. Personalized video content marketing. Oh, I've got something special for videos. I will show you how you can convert a YouTube transcripts into a blog. Let's just start creating content. So telepromoter versus stage manager. What does it take to be a tele operator? How to become a telepromoter operator, everything you need to know. We could start with that. Now let's generate some description. Okay, sounds good. So we're going to look at outlines later on. So let's generate some outline concepts. I'll quickly add them, and then we'll go to, okay, so see, here's the thing. This content does not really, this particular keyword doesn't really have that good of a content that you can find from SERPs. So the concepts that came up here are very less. So let's see, what is a teleport operator, pitfalls and perks? Okay, so this is like a benefits and disadvantages. Responsibilities and requirements. Okay. Telepromoter, Los Angeles, salary, you'd probably want to talk about. But when it comes to this particular keyword, this is what they're looking for. They're looking for something related to job, something operator on daily on-call, audiovisual production specialist. I'm not sure how that's some skill sets, roles. So there's like both sorts of audience, one that's actually looking to hire someone, and one that is actually looking for a job. So you might want to be a little even more specific when you're targeting. So if you have a product or service that basically sells this, you want to be ranking for keywords, or you want to be creating content for keywords that essentially the business owners who are looking for this service are looking for, right? And not looking for jobs. So just be careful with that. But I think let's say we have just a couple of outlines here, and this is good to at least get the basis and understand how we can create concepts and stuff like that. So, okay. Okay, so while we are in concepts, what is a concept, right? Like some of you might still have questions as what concepts really are. So concepts can be admit. Okay, so concepts can be a phrase, it can be a keyword, it can be a sentence, or it can be even a paragraph. But how do we come up with what it's going to be, right? Right? So what we do is that we go to SERP data or any data, and we have a very unique search engine that identifies the right keyword density or the right content based on the density of keywords and pulls out content from those sections from your SERP data. So when it's pulling out the data, what we do is we summarize it, and then we try and extract the key elements that make up those paragraphs and summarizations, which means that sometimes the context can be as good as a couple of words, or sometimes the context needing explanation can be as long as a sentence. So for example, let's say if you're talking about, let's just look at a couple of examples here. So let's say, what is a concept, right? So you say, this is a concept, and it requires more than a couple of words to describe it. But let's say if you are, and I see plenty of people joining in. Okay, this has plenty of people are joining in, so just give it a second. Okay, all right. This is a small concept, but what about this? this is multiple concepts combined into it together. And this is why GPT-3 or any other tools will fail, is because they cannot put all of these contexts together, even if they're reading it in a precise manner. So what we've done is that we collect these key concepts and bring it out. Now, when it comes to this particular thing, you could say that the concept is actually much larger because I need to take in consideration the 600 liters as well as 2 ml. So you can understand like when we came up with concepts, what our real aim was to make sure that the truth behind any content is well maintained as well, as well as we can maintain it, so that when you build upon it, it gives you mostly or 90 I don't know however accurate you want to say it, but precisely accurate stuff that you write around and build up paragraphs around it. So this is what concepts are. There could be other unnecessary stuff around it related to a particular product or service that it's discarding, but it's keeping the core meaning that or the core attraction of a particular paragraph or a sentence out of it. So let's go ahead and get started with generating concepts. When you click on this particular concepts, it's going and getting default concepts. So it's using default template. What is a default template? Is that it will not look at certain sentiments when it's trying to read that data and give you stuff, which means that you will get all neutral data. Neutral data is as is, right? It's not influenced and it's not understood upon facts out of it. So let's see default. We'll understand each and every example for the same content, so you can understand what different it can do for each templates. Okay, so we are in defaults right now. Okay, and it has tons and tons of content. So it is still doing its thing. And I can see that it had tons of information inbuilt in it. So let's say when you are actually trying to generate concepts for a very like introduction or stuff like that, you can use different templates. So that's what I wanted to show you. So now we see that there is so much content that it brought out, right? Some are like literally, look at this. This is like a phrase, and then some are like this is a sentence that you can say, and this is like also almost like a paragraph. But just because it has so much information, it's bringing out all of these information out from the SERP data. Now, these are already, it's not, I wouldn't even say rewritten. These are totally different than what you find in SERP data, is because, let's say I was to copy this, and I will go to the actual source of the content and I will try to find it. It's not going to find it. It's just because there is no information here that exactly matches what we pulled out. Okay. Now, let's say this is the default template. When do you use a default template, right? You use a default template when the topic is very nuanced to you and you have no idea what you want to write about. So you want as much inspiration and as much information about that subject in order to write, or in order to influence the AI to write around it. So in that case, you would use default. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of these default ones. Or we can just actually go down here. Actually, I want to get rid of all of these. And okay, so we'll just minimize this right now so we can compare the results. Let's put this here. Okay. All right, so now I have the same essential outline, and I'm going to put this as introduction. So the reason why I'm doing introduction is because I just want to grab the first couple of paragraphs for what is a telepromoter operator. And I don't want to read the entire content, because the entire content can be parts and sections of those H2s and H3s within those H2s tags. And you can pull out more concepts over there instead of here. So now I will just do introduction. And you will see it will pull out only the concepts from the first few sentences. Okay, let's minimize that as well. And we will go now to the third one. Okay, would I just replace that with that? Nope, never mind. I didn't want to do that. So this is going to be FAQ. This is introduction, and this is default. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at FAQ. Now, what will FAQ do? So the second one is FAQ. Now, let's say you have a blob of content, right? Like you have raw text, or you have raw research, or let's say you have a YouTube transcripts that you're dumping in here to identify concepts out of. Now, in that case, you might want to identify questions that are being answered in that content, right? So you can build out your sections around them. How do you do that? We build out this particular template that can go identify question sentiments out of the text, right? So let's go ahead and look at this. I'm using the same content that we have in all in the above two examples as well to extract FAQs out of it. Okay, this data cannot be any better. And if you were to create, let's say, a FAQ portion of it, you can identify the most common term and extract FAQs around them. So it just finished. You can understand like how many questions are being answered in this particular paragraph. Amazing stuff, right? So now what you can do is, so this is the question that we were actually doing. So what are the job responsibilities of a telepromoter operator? What you can do is you can take this out and convert this into an H3. Now, when you do an H3 tag, it's right here. And what it will do is it will follow the trail. So it will keep the trail of the existing content along with it and insert it right here. Now, what you can do is like, okay, what are the job responsibilities of a telepromoter operator? I just use default template, or this is an FAQ template, right? That I had extracted data out of. But now I want to extract information that is only related with this H3 tags, not everything, just the H3 tag, right? Like I really want to read the content and I want to identify all the sentences, all the paragraphs, all the information that is related to job responsibilities of a teleoperator, right? That's what I really want to do. So what I will do is, all right, let's say I'll delete this out and then I will delete this out. Let's just keep job responsibilities and then we'll go to related. This is our next template that we'll look at. And when I can click generate concepts, it's going to really try harder to find out what are the job responsibilities or things, informations related to job responsibilities, right? So one of the responsibilities is advertisement. Let's say operator controls the text and how it's formatted and the speed of it. So it's really trying harder. Promoters are used to help with the speeches, concerts, etc. Really trying to identify the data that is related only to this particular job responsibility. So it really helps you do the research and build your content upon some facts that it's identifying from the SERP data. And I see there's a question. So let's go ahead and just look at that quickly. So what is the main difference between adding your own content versus not adding? Does it just narrow the focus, or do both ways use SERP data? I'll answer that. Okay, so let's say when you, okay, so let's say there's 20 pages, right? And this is where Outranking is really adding value. Let's say there's 20 pages and you're talking about content marketing. Now, content marketing can be talked about in 10 of those pages or 15 of those pages. Not all pages are talking about that content marketing. But as your job as a researcher or the writer to identify the right or the best content, how would you go about doing it, right? You'd go through some of these pages and identify the best piece of content and then say, okay, this is where I want to take my inspiration from. But it takes some time to go and identify that best piece of content, right? So what we did was we built out a search engine in the back end, which can go and read existing data bank. Now, what is a data bank? Data bank is your 20 pages of SERP or any existing page that you have attached into that research. So it can read through those pages and identify the paragraphs which have the closest meaning to the headlines versus also identify paragraphs which have the density, the highest density for that particular keyword, and multiple paragraphs associated with it as well. So now you are really extracting information from the most powerful stuff or the most dense information around a particular subject from the SERP data. Let's say this is, so let's say when you run the concepts, it goes to these pages, reads the data, and it automatically right now puts this in the custom box here. So you can go and refer where the information is coming from and how does it read, and if there is anything that we missed out that you'd probably want to add. But in custom concepts, it's information that is not on SERP, right? It is your own research, your own product, your own brief, your own case study, right? Like information that is just not available there out there. In those cases, you can use that information and You can Control A, Control V, your information here, and run concepts again. But let's say you are building upon a particular, let's say you're building upon job responsibility, and you want to look at the SERP data as well. So you want all the basic stuff that's out there and you want to talk about that, but then you want to talk about certain things which you only know and nobody else knows, right? Which is most likely going to be the case in many. I mean, if you want to really create powerful content, you have to add value. So how do you add value is you can create your own custom concept line, or you can dump your research if you have any in here, and then say, I want to, let me delete this, and then say, I want to regenerate this particular concept that I've just added in any of these things. So I can say introduction and then click generate, and it will go and generate those concepts again from your custom research as well. Did that answer that question, Kathy? Perfect. All right. Okay, Travis, yes, there's many more, right? So we just looked at related, and related is something is really powerful. So especially in cases like where the information is just so thin out there, and you know that this is like a very nuanced topic, like, hardly any searches out there. Chances are that the information that you're going to find from SERP is also very crap. So you're going to need your own research, or you're going to need this related template to extract only relevant information from mess out there. So really helpful in extracting precise information from large sets of text. Okay, let's go ahead and minimize this, and we'll go back to this teleoperator and look at another template. Okay, so we looked at default, we looked at FAQ, we looked at related. Now we'll say benefits. Okay, I'm going to use benefits here, and let's just extract a little bit of text out of it. So it does not generate for a few seconds, and it will just generate for a few. Okay. So I'll just copy this, and we'll go here because I only want to pull content from this much amount. So I'll select benefits. You can add as many as you want. There's no problem at all. There's no limits on concepts on how much it can add. So it doesn't really matter. Now, okay, so this is our benefits template. Now, it's really tried to extract benefits of telepromoter operator. The job is stress-free, very little mistakes are made on live TV. Job is fairly simple to learn how to do. You can understand all the good stuff, or all the positive sentiments around what is telepromoter operator, right? So some really powerful stuff. So when is this useful? Benefits. When you are creating content with sort of a positive tone to it, this can really help. When you are doing pros and cons of a product, this can really help. And you can extract benefits out of review, out of information that's out there about anything, right? Like it can be really any nuanced topic just by clicking this. So use benefits when you are really creating product related blog post and information that has benefits and disadvantages or pros and cons for anything. This will really help you create some really powerful content. So it is as sensitive as any other tool, and sometimes if you hit that issue, you can just run it again and it will try to omit it. But this is something that you cannot get past when you're generating concepts or any AI related utility. There are certain cases where we can make some exceptions, and we're working on finding a solution for that. But yes, currently you have to abide by safe words. If you hit a snag over there, just regenerate the concepts and it will try differently. Okay, is it possible to add the ability to select more concepts for summary? If I add mine plus steps, it should go past what is allowed. You can add as many templates. I think I already just revisited that. There's no limits on it. So like you can literally see, like you can have hundreds of concepts and you can choose up to 4 concepts to elaborate upon those facts easily. Okay, so this is benefits. Now let's see what it comes up with for disadvantages, right? So negative sentiment and or pros or cons, right? However you take it, it's just negative sentiments out of it. So we'll select disadvantages. Okay. I mean, clicking the umbrella, select more than 4. More than 4 is not allowed, and I will tell you why. Okay. Low pay, high stress level, no clear description of the job. This is why. These are some of the disadvantages of telepromoter operator. Some really useful information. It's here. So when you're talking about salary, which is what was a keyword that someone was searching for, right, in Google, I just saw you can include this kind of information. Google loves this kind of information. Not only it's super readable, it's concise, and it gives value to your users. Okay. All right. So why not allowing selecting more than 4 umbrellas? Okay. How does concept expansion work, right? And this is a deeper topic. So I want to talk about this. Let's just cover through all the templates first, and then I will go ahead and address that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and add another one here and open up this and see which one is the next, right? Okay, so the next one is steps and features. These are the two ones that we have missed out. Now, I can click on steps, but it's not really going to give me steps, right? Like this is not a step to doing anything. If I was to like create steps, like I need how to something or steps to do something, right? Like I need those kind of titles. But let's see if we can convert the existing text or research that we have into bullet point formats, or not necessarily steps, right? This is not going to convert it into steps, but this will try to convert it into steps or concise sections that can go one after the other. Let's do it. All right, so you see it's starting it and it's ending it at a sentence most likely. So it's suggesting that you could start including this or building upon this, but this really works well when you actually have a step. So like steps to, or instructions to cook something, or instructions to build something or DIY something, right? Or how to fix your car tire. In those cases, it will really give you steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that you can just start including this directly into your content. So I see this is not relevant and we can obviously delete that. Okay, let's go down and look at the last one, I believe. Okay, so this was steps. Okay, and I want to show you an example of when the steps really work in just a second after I show this, but let's see. Now this is features. Okay, there's not going to be any features, okay, of Telepromoter, but it might try to identify features of Telepromoter operator. So it'll be fun to see this, but features is for extracting information related to products and some things that have specifications to it, most likely. So let's just go ahead and see this. This is the first time I'm running it in front of you for features for stuff that is not related. So we'll see. Okay, this is the feature of being a telepromoter operator. As you can see, let's not discuss about that, but okay, it's not really trying to like, it's not finding many features from the existing information, right? So, okay, we'll look at steps and features again with relevant content. So let's go identify and get some content from. Okay, fix a car tire. And this is going to be interesting. So I'm going to open up this video too, because I have something that I want to show you guys. But let's say this is Outside Magazine. We'll just open this up. And okay, this is lots of content. So step 2, step 3, avoid trouble. Hold on a second. Step 1, find the puncher. So let's say you want to find out how to find the puncher, steps to finding the puncher, right? And this will really help with that. There we go. This is exactly the steps, right? So if you wanted to take that content, really transform it into something super unique and create that is more understandable and readable to your users, this is what you do. So now it's like really picking out the steps. Let's go ahead and look at an Amazon product as well. And I've showed this many times, right? But for the sake of this demo, there are many people who have not seen this. So Amazon bar control, and we can take, this is Amazon, nope. Okay, we can click on any, and you can copy this information, come here, and we'll say features, dump the information here, and say I want to extract features. It's going to extract the features, right? Easy to install, lightweight, super cute design, ABS plastic from a variety of materials, waterproof, 3 levels, ultrasonic. There you go, camping trips. Like this is the kind of stuff that you want to be talking about. Like if you're creating product comparisons, where you show the features of each individual products, then benefits, and then disadvantages, or some customer reviews, information from that. This will really help you create some really powerful content. So it's about making better writing than doing most work for you. And I understand that, but it is actually doing better writing. Okay, so let's look at one more question that we have here. Steps for recipe was what I was thinking of including in the summary, but I see I would just move them over, not summarize. Yes, absolutely, right? You just copy, and like if it was steps for the recipe, I would just copy them and like convert them into a bullet or a listicle. Okay, all right. So now we've looked at all the templates of concepts. Now let's understand how the expansion or how developing or summarizing concepts work, right? Okay, let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, so while we're here, let's go ahead and go up on top so we can keep talking about the related stuff. Okay, what will happen when you summarize? So there's three, there are actually four combinations. One is just one. The second one is when you select two. The third is when you select three. And the fourth is when you select four. What happens when you select one, two, three versus four, right? That's what we want to really see. So let's say I selected only one. Okay, we have a little bit of information. Now I'm going to use that and that to generate summarized concepts. Okay, I'm going to now use three and summarize concepts. Okay, okay, so we're looking at, this is one, this is two. Sorry about the noise. It's not much I can do about that lawnmower. And this is the fourth. Okay, in this case, what happened really is that the shorter the input, sounds good then. The shorter the input I had for summarized concepts, the shorter output I got. In this cases, it was almost similar. In this case, a little longer, and in this case, even more longer. How does summarization of concepts work? Okay, so let's say when you have two of these sentences, which are very closely related to each other, and you try to summarize both of them together, what are you going to get? You are going to get much more concise sentence just because they're very closely related. And there could be overlapping meaning that it will disregard and build it out into one paragraph, discarding that overlapping meaning. So that means your output can sometimes be smaller. But let's say if you have two concepts which are talking about totally different things and they cannot be put together and summarized together, in those cases, it's going to expand upon into larger text where it can actually talk about that information. So that's how it works, right? So never look at this from a perspective as if I click on one, it will generate lesser content or it will generate more content. If I click on two, it will generate more or less content. That's not the case. The case is that when you start building out these concepts, if you group them as closely associated with each other and then build out the concepts, the output will be a little smaller versus other ways around. So this can also change. So let's say I have here, I'm just going to expand upon this one particular concept. It's different every time, right? So this time it gave out a little more context, right? And it built out. So it's really based on probability, but it's going to keep the meaning and where it wants to really go around what you're passing it in. So that's something to consider. Don't think that multiple concepts can mean more content or lesser content. It just means different ways of constructing your paragraphs that can actually have potential about talking those concepts together. Okay, so this is how concept development works. Now, when you're building out concepts, you will notice, so there are a few triggers, right? The first one is when you build out your first paragraph. And the second trigger is when you build out the remaining, right? So the second time you're building out, it tries to read a portion of your text above it so it can transition into the new paragraph. It really tries, but sometimes there's no, and like there's no alternative to a human being involved in this, right? Like you need to make those small adjustments no matter what AI you use. So, but this will keep it on track and it will talk about things which are factual. Okay, this was covering summarizing concept. Kathy, I know you had a few questions over there. So did this answer that? If not, happy to jump deeper and explain anything that I missed. Okay, if we'll just wait for that, but all right, sounds good. Okay, so this was developing, extracting concepts. Now, let's look at a quick framework behind where do we get these concepts from and how you can make this research even more powerful. So let's say you have your custom information or your custom pages. These are the 20 pages that it pulls out content from. Okay, now it's for some reason, let's say it's pulling out content from Lifehacker and it's not something that you want. You can come here and click here. This will bar this particular content from being used in the research at all. Similarly, if you have your own URLs, you can add multiple URLs over here and when you run concepts, it can do research from those pages as well to find information. I highly suggest you use this if you're creating longer form content and just the dollar tag behind it is higher. You really want to rank for it and you need tons of really good information. In that case, you come here and identify some custom sources or sources from your client's website, which you want to talk about, their product you want to talk about, and use that in your research as well. Okay, we're done with concepts. Now let's go to methods. Okay, so what is a method, right? Like this is, you could call it templates, you could call it a recipe, you could call it whatever you want. But the reason why we call it methods is because we have integrate some of the aspects of SEO and what really matters to writing for web into this so-called templates or method to automate some of this task for you. So there are two types of methods. One is public and one is private. So we'll look at both and both of the limitations for it. So let's say there is private and there's public. Okay, private methods are small, have 600 characters limit, and public methods are more trained data, 3500 character limits. Okay, but the difference is that this is public. That means you need approval, and this goes to approved. Approval. And the reason is that you can really take advantage of this and do some insane things, which might not be approved for some of the use cases. So getting an approval is extremely important. If there are certain use cases where you want to automate certain things, and the platform is restricting you from doing that, we can happily make some changes on custom basis. But again, we want to limit that to as much as possible. Okay, so let's look at add private. Well, let's not look at this. I'm going to look at an existing one that I've created. Okay, so let's say paragraph 2 and heading. Let's go ahead and edit that. You will see there's two methods. I've created public. So in public, I have 3,500 characters in limit. So what I've really done here is given it some set of instructions. Heading is a short question or a headline about the passage. Write a heading for the given passage. And then I passed it a passage and I said, okay, for this passage, this is what I'm saying is the title. For this particular passage, this is what I'm saying is the title. And then now I'm saying, okay, I'm passing you a passage, come and give me a title for it. So that's basically training sets of data. And the better your training sets of data is, the better output you will get. This is a very simple example, but some of the examples that I've created are much complex. And the way you use this is by using some of the elements in here. So if you use this directly into your content, then that means you are inserting title directly into that prompt. If this is selection, then that means whatever you select before running the prompt is being inserted into it. Similarly, descriptions, keywords, this is help start, and I will show an example of that too, what help start and help end means. And this is tone, and tone can be inserted from here, but it can automatically take that parameter and automate certain task for you. Okay, let's go ahead and cancel this out. And I've created some introduction related methods. So there's 3 methods here which are related to introductions. And I will get to your questions, Gab, just in a second after I'm done here. Okay, this will create, let's say, tone. Okay, you can be a professional, you can be mom of 2 childs or 20 childs, right? Like it just intensifies that sentiment. You can be a cyborg, you can be a lawyer, you can sound like a doctor, right? Like you can do pretty much quite a few things, and some important voices too that are out there. But let's just click professional for this particular one and say I want to create an introduction. Okay, you'll see this introduction is built with a very specific use case, and it's for sounding professional. And right after this, you can start diving into it, right? So this is one sort of introduction. Now let's look at this past blog introduction. And when I command it, it's going to ask me my audience. So I say telepromoter business owners. I would say I don't really know this persona, so I'm just going to say command, but there we go. It built out a specific type of introduction that can be used and lead users into the deeper parts of the content. So if you want to become a professional telepromoter operator, watch this video on how they do it and what professionals do it with them each day, right? So instead of watch this video, you can say read the blog or read the blog and just like call it off. But it's really starting with a problem. It's going, and this is a problem, agitation, and solution. So this is the solution is your content, right? The stuff that you have written, that's supposed to be the solution. So this is how you build out your introductory paragraphs, which are very punchful and can get users into deeper into your content. Similarly, we have also before after bridge sort of. There we go. This could also be your introductory paragraph. This article discusses what makes us a good promoter, how they work, their benefits, and some of the different types of as well, pros and cons of each. It cannot really get any better into getting the user from starting on like introducing a problem and then working through a solution and going deeper into the parts of your content. So use this to really create some really powerful introductions and just go through it. It really works. Okay. And I'm going to look at some questions now. Is there character limit input or output? So for public, for private, yes, it's 30 tokens. So it's 100 and times 5. So it's 150 characters times 3 is the maximum. So 450 characters is the maximum for private ones. For public ones, it really differs. For public ones, this can be as high as 600 characters or even 600 times 3, sometimes 1800 characters, but it really depends on the use case. So we have to look at from use case basis for creating this public and private methods. Okay, thanks for explaining a whole tons of the information. Can I send you an example of a method? I've been trying to teach the AI, but I can't really figure out how. So can try live. Absolutely. If you have it right now and you don't care anybody reading through it, feel free to send it and we'll look at it and try to fix it up as well. Okay, do the methods pull from outline SERPs or is it just the AI? So methods right now is just AI, but it depends on what you feed it in, right? So it really depends. So let's say, for example, I'll create a very small method, right? And I will say, write 4 points about selection. Okay, write 4 points about selection, and I will start with 1. Okay, so I'll just test. I'm gonna keep it private. So okay, so let's remove this, and this is the test, right? So what it's doing is I need to do some selection. I didn't really add any information here, but I added selection to it, right? That what that really means that it's looking for a selection. So if I click here, it will tell me that please select less than 600 characters. I need to select something in order to run it. Here is where you can pass it the data that concepts generated and stuff like that, right? So let's say, for example, I was in sections and I was in FAQ, and what is the role? What is the telepromoter operator? I'll just copy that. I'll go to methods. And then I said write 4 points. So I'll just select this and I'll say write 4 points. It wasn't precise, right? Like what 4 points do I want to write? So that's why. But let's try one more time. This is not a foolproof method. It's just an example. Yeah, it's really gonna try and do the 4 points however it can. So yeah, you need to like do some testing with it if you don't really know how to go about doing this. But some prompts can be really, really, really easy, right? Like if a tone of a lawyer is something that you use more often to write your introductions, it's something that you can automate. You could also say, take this address and convert it into a paragraph or other things like that, right? So let's look at a couple of other methods that I've built out as well that will help you understand something more. So let's say we have this video from this guy, Chris Fix, who's going to help us how to fix the tires. So what you can do here, go to the transcripts, toggle transcripts out, and this is my entire transcripts from the content, okay? So what I will do, I'm gonna copy this entire thing, paste it in here. Okay, where did we stop? This is a very long transcript, so bear with me. Okay, this is where we stopped. So let's look at this. I will go a little by little, right? So home or for tire shop. So we want to get some air in the tire. So let's pop the trunk and check out the 3 options that we have for situations like this. Okay, this is where I can make a break. And I say, all right, how many characters? 585, perfect. Let's go and say YouTube transcribes to a paragraph. And you can delete this. Then you can come here. The first is first, know where it ends because it's quick and easy. And you can stop right here and say, okay, command again. You're gonna have to make your breaks only, and it can do majority of it for you. So easy way to build out the content using your entire YouTube transcripts. And if you feel like you need some heading for this, you can come here, select it, and there's paragraph to heading, command it. There you go. Or maybe here, right? So whatever you want to insert it, but there's plenty of this, like there's going to be many methods, right? I was focusing more on introductions right now. So we really have some really good introduction methods that you guys should try out. But now we'll start looking into YouTube's and other custom workflow methods as well for case studies, for press releases, anything that you do for web. Can I learn your own, can it learn your own tone from some of your web pages? It's, oh, you are in a surprise, Julia. So we have trained it with the tone of Neil Patel to come up with email newsletters, right? So let's say if you wanted to write an email in the tone of Neil Patel, what we've done is we've taken some sample data of his email and how he puts them together and Jason created a framework for it, Neil Patel blog email, right? So let's go ahead and just click command. It's going to build out an email that you can send to your audience and ask them to come and read this particular blog post. So it says, hey, I've got some super fun for you today. So this is how like his emails start. And you can, yeah, so you can train it with based on your custom tone as well, but not tones for writing like an entire paragraph like write for me, but for building out specific outputs, which are stuff like this. Can you please add a heading to paragraph to the bottom left menu? I am using list, then taking it off to do that for now. So what I would suggest is like, these methods are endless possibilities, right? Like we don't want to be plastering it like all over the editor because you will essentially eventually have hundreds and thousands of methods and you can custom pick and create your own library out of it, right? So we want to really get there. And for us to be able to get there, we cannot be segregating it out. If anything, it will become better and easier to use some of these utilities right into the editor. But right now, you can click on add, and it will be added into this particular section. So you have your own shortlisted methods that you can come and use again and again. All right. So we had someone who's given us a URL to one of the methods that they were writing. Okay, so I see what you're trying to do. This will take a little longer than this particular message here. So let's chat up afterwards. If you want, I can send you a calendar invite and we can look over your method and come up with something that can help everyone. Sounds good, Gabe. So I'm just gonna drop this URL in here. Use this to book a quick time, and we can look at your method and come up with a fix for this. Sounds good. Okay. More questions, guys. So I quickly covered methods and then we covered sections as well. Yeah, no problem. That's fine. Okay, so we quickly look at this. There's only a few minutes remaining here, so I don't want to get into anything new. Let's go ahead and answer any questions you guys have, and I mean any feedback as well. You know, appreciate feel free to mute yourself and ask questions as well. No problem at all.
Question. So is all of the earlier stuff even necessary if you're using methods? Like, can you just do the title and the description and then hit command like here on the Neil Patel? Will it automatically just do all that? Or is it just going back to the different sections and the subsections?
Right. So it's different, right? Where you need factual information, where you need AI to stay on track for you, you need concept. When you want to build out certain automation, like things that can be automated, right? So introductions can be automated, your title, your headings, some parts of your outlines can be automated, so your conclusion can be automated. Those things don't really need that much. But when it comes to factual information, you need research. And that's when you're building the meat of your content, you use concepts. But to automate certain tasks like this, like building out certain list or doing some emails like this or building out or converting YouTube into a blog post, things like that, you can automate it because it's still taking information from somewhere else and doing some magic on it and coming up with information. But write for me is what you're suggesting. Like I can select this and say, hey, write a couple of paragraphs for me. Don't expect too much out of it. That paragraphs can have total life.
Okay. But yeah, I was curious on like the method section because it seems like it's really well, like the Neil Patel email, kind of like it's It seems like it's him writing it, right?
And every time it's going to come up with a different combination of it, right? So you can really do this. And it's like possibilities are really endless. I tried with YouTube. YouTube does phenomenal job. Like you can create, I don't know, 10,000 words from YouTube post in less than 20 minutes by just selecting and running the command. So it can do pretty amazing stuff, but I would suggest don't think of building out methods that will do content generation from thin air. Have some perspective to it, have some kick to it, and some additional elements that can keep it on track and do something meaningful out of it. Right for me is really not the solution for majority of the use cases.
Yeah. Can you walk through that YouTube, the YouTube side of it again? Like how did you get it to?
Okay, so this is my YouTube.
And it's fresh content, right?
Yeah, this is fresh content, right? So this is my YouTube. This is my YouTube transcript. So I see it's 476 characters. Right now there is a 600 limit, but we're gonna bump it up to 1800 in the minor release. We're doing it next week. We change some algorithms on it. So you'll be able to select like a large text, but let's say you have this, and then you come here and let's go to public. I think there's the YouTube. Oh, no, it is not maybe published it yet. YouTube transcripts to paragraph, right? So you could select this and you can say command. Okay, not sure what it did, but let's select it again. Okay, there you go. So the content that I copied was about fat tire, and we're writing about teleoperator. That's why it's not doing a good job. But if we were talking about a flat tire, then it can really do a good job. So let me change this to flat tire. Okay, let's select this, and then let's select some of this and say, okay, come on. There you go. And this is what the video is really talking about. The other day I was driving on the freeway when my car started to make a strange noise. So this is how you can get started with this video, the video transcript. So let's take some shorter transcripts so I can show you guys how to change. Right, so let's just copy this and we'll come all the way at the end here. And let's just pick this out and say command. There you go. Yes, an add-on. Someone wanted to know something about an add-on. So yeah, feel free to ask that question about add-on. The add-on deal is ending on 8th, and the add-ons currently we have is $39. It's a $39 plan, and they will start rolling over in next. So whoever is already on the $59 plan will be moved to 39, and their plans will start rolling over as soon as they've been renewed once. So if your renewal was coming right now, you'll be automatically moved to 39. Your renewal will happen, and then after that, your credit will start rolling over. And like, is there any other questions that you had around? No, not yet, right? So if anybody, you could just buy right now and pause it. No, that's not what it's for. So like, if you purchase it right now, in our next release, there's going to be an option to pause the add-on. You can pause it three consecutively for 3 months, and then after that, it will ask you to just cancel your plan. But you can still keep those credits that you've accumulated and roll them over. We're hoping for before Christmas. You're very welcome, Kathy. Okay, did that answer all the questions? Any more information? I heard the pause length will depend on Stripe answer, right? So yeah, like I said, right, the pause is going to be monthly. You can pause consecutively up to 3 months. And after 3 months, if you still need more pauses, then just cancel the account and then you can purchase it later on. But you will still get to keep the credits that you've accumulated. So no harm. I hope that answers. Sounds good. All right. So any more questions, last minute questions, drop in, guys. If not, we'll close the webinar and get the recording to you guys. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day and evening, wherever you are. So see you in the next webinar.